Okay, today is, I'm guessing if I look at the date in front of me, it's the 10th of August, it's 2017. My name's Patrick Dooley. I'm the founder and one of the co-owners of this platform, Global Cryptocurrency Funding, short GCCF. This presentation that you're attending or that you're watching as a recorded presentation is a pre-launch presentation. This is the presentation before we launch live in August or in the very near future. We're going to run through a few things, but the first thing that I really want to tell you or say to you is that this platform is designed specifically for you to help you accumulate as much funding as you dare to. So this is the overview of the presentation, the welcome message, the leaders, a little bit about us, our mission, our values. We're going to talk a little bit about how we got here, how the platform exists, a little bit about the plan, and the promotion we probably won't get through today. Okay, so what we're going to show you is a legal and ethical way to use 21st century technology, the power of the internet and the power of the crowd to create your own cryptocurrency accumulation engine. Currently, we use Bitcoin, but we will also use several other ones, including possibly Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and other top-tier cryptocurrencies as we develop this. The reason why I've got a seesaw, or for you Americans, a teeter-totter, is that today, the Bitcoin buys a lot more than it did this time last year. And today, your fiat currency, your dollars, your euros, your pounds, your krona, your lux, buys at least 4% less. So this is something to understand, and understand why cryptocurrency has come about and the reason why it's becoming more and more popular, not only for the acquisition of it for a store of value, but also a medium of exchange, and has all these particular assets available. So what is this Bitcoin? We call it cash for the internet. That's the easiest way to explain it, but it's much, much, much more. So to grasp the absolute full potential of Bitcoin, let's do a quick recap on how we got here in the first place. So to understand that, we really do need to understand, and I'm not going to do an economics course here, but we really do need to understand some basic stuff about money. And what we need to understand about money is some of its attributes. Money needs to be durable. It needs to be portable. It needs to be divisible. In other words, you can break it into smaller bits. It needs to be identifiable. In other words, it's not easy to counterfeit. It needs to have a limited supply. It's not like in the early part of the 20th century where you could have wheelbarrow loads of German Deutschmark and it was cheaper to burn the actual money than it was to buy wood to burn for winter. And it needs to have a store of value. This is the new form of money. So what was our first commodity money? Basically, there's the easiest way to explain this is this brief thing. We can talk about it at another time. After we went from barter, we figured out a way that we need to use money, a means of exchange. And to do that at that time, the technology that we had, 10,000 BC through to 600 BC, we had things that we now call commodity money, stuff that was popular, but that wasn't actually a particularly intrinsic value. We made value out of things like tea in India and shells of different tribes and salts and things like that. And so we used commodity money to purchase our products and wares. And then we moved along to something called coined money. Now, around about 600 BC in Lydia, which is what we now call Turkey, we had our first coins. So there's debate a little bit about this debate, but we basically took metals and we turned them into coins. And there's a whole big story that I can tell you about that, but this is sort of the timeline. We started around then. Then some clever people figured out, hey, we want to have better portability. We want to have better divisibility. We want to have better identifiability. We want to know this. And so around the 7th century, we started with paper money over in China. And basically they were sort of promissory notes. You deposited, you had a store of value somewhere, and that particular safe housing gave you a bit of paper and said, yeah, that's true, we've got a store of value here. This piece of paper is actually worth a lot of money because we've got the assets. And so that quickly developed into something. The actual first European banknote was in Stockholm by Banco, and that's it there. There's a photo of it there. And it was in 1662, 3, 4, something like that. And this fella, I forgot his name, but this fella, he decided he was going to create this banking system. Now, it wasn't in his first bank, but he was the first one to create a note. And he started doing something with the limited supply. He started to write out promissory notes for metals or value that he didn't have in stock. And there was a run on the banks, and the government, I think it was 1665 or 6 or something, threw him in jail and took over that bank, and that bank was called something else, and then that turned into what Sweden now calls the Riksbanken. And so this was the first sort of banking notes, and they were backed by value inside a depository, a vault, and that vault we now call a bank. After that, fiat money came along, and fiat's this Latin word that says, by decree, the government says this money is valuable because it is. But if we really want to be accurate on this story, it was really around 1971 when President Nixon said, we are going to decouple the American dollar from the gold standard. And so in 1971, fiat became fiat simply by the decree of the money that the government said, we are valuable because we say we are valuable. And they did not have to back up their currency with anything of value. So the notes were only worth what they were worth. Now, here's something to note. Since that happened, well, actually, we can go back into about 1913 when the Federal Reserve, or 14, the Federal Reserve started in America. A $100 bill back then, $100, today can buy $4 worth of value. So basically, a little over 100 years, because of the way inflation, which has to do with the limited supply, the way that the central banking system regulates the supply of money equivalent to the product demand of the particular economy. Now, I don't want to get too deep into this economics, but understanding that today that $100 is only going to buy us $4. 100 years ago, it would have bought us $100 worth of stuff. So money today, and for 100 years, has not very well stored any value. In fact, the main reason for that is because of the limited supply. And so we had a financial crisis in 2008, and then this fellow named, or group of people named Satoshi Nakamoto put forward a different idea. They put forward the idea that we could use mathematical equations for trust, and we could have a limited supply, something that would keep store of value, and then we could use it as easy as sending a text or an email to one another. We didn't need to have the clearing houses and the whole banking system. In fact, we didn't need to have banks in general, nor did we need to have governments to impose limits and limitations on supply and demand, and more importantly, value and buying power. And so this notion was a wild notion from people in the 20th and the 21st century. But actually, if you look at the money timeline, we've just developed money. As the technology got better and better, the shortness between the money it's got less and less and less. So now we have something called Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies out there that allow us to use money that is durable and it don't break. It's portable. It sits in our phone. It's divisible. We can break it down to 100 million parts. It's identifiable. It's got a cryptography way that is more or less impossible to break. When we talk about cryptography, we probably should not talk about possibilities. I heard a professor out of Princeton University say it like this: the chance to crack the code from the type of encryption that we have for Bitcoin is the same chance that a meteorite would hit this earth in the next 2 seconds. And he looks at his watch, counts 2, looks up at the sky, and goes, it didn't hit. Basically, it's more or less improbable that it can be cracked. In other words, it's safe. It's limited supply. There's only a certain amount of them, much like gold. There's only a certain amount. And the store of value. Well, let's have a look at the store of value. What's happened with Bitcoin? Let's compare it with something that you know. Everyone here knows who Apple is, right? It's not just a piece of fruit that you eat. You've either got a phone or you've got a computer or you know the name. You've had an iPod, you understand what iTunes is, you've been to the App Store. If you don't know what Apple is, you're about to find out. Apple stock, if you bought that in March 2013, now I've done the research, right? In 2013, if you had $2,000, you could get 34 shares on, I think it was the 2nd of March because the stock exchange was closed on the 1st. That's a lot of money to invest in a company. What would it be in June 2017? We're now in August, so I did this research in June 2017, $5,100. That's what it would be worth. So your $100 is an increase by $3,100, but in real time, you've also got to remember you've got to each year of those 4 years, you have to take off 4% of your buying power. So it's not really adjusted for inflation. That's just straight out shares. Well, that's pretty good still. No bank is going to give you anything like that. So what about Bitcoin? If you spent $2,000 worth of Bitcoin on exactly the same day, the 2nd of March, in the 2nd of March in 2013, right? You did that. Well, what do you think you'd get? I mean, you'd get something, right? Would you get better? Would you get worse? Let's check it out. Wow, a staggering $1.1 million. Right, so you put in $2,000 in March 2013. You bought 400 bitcoins. Actually, it's a little bit more than that today, right? It's a little bit more. Do the quick maths in your head. You brainy people out there, 400 times 3,400, and you're going to end up with 1.3 or 5 or whatever it is. So that is an example, a fact of the store of value of Bitcoin. So no matter what you read, no matter what you hear, let's look at this. Now, I didn't go back to 2009 because I found it unfair, because it would be so much more value. I took something that is legitimate. Compare apples and apples, right? 4 years is something that people are going to go in, an Apple stock, one of the best on the market, and Bitcoin. This is where we are with the store of value. So how do you get this weird and wonderful stuff of Bitcoin? The very first thing that we have to tell everyone is a disclaimer here. You need to inform yourself. Before using Bitcoin, there are a few things that you need to know. There are a few things that you need to learn, mostly security, so you don't get duped. And instead of me going through all that, we go to the bitcoin.org/ing for English /you need to know. And you can take a screenshot or go there and do that and have a look at that stuff. That is an organization that promotes the use of Bitcoin. It's the team behind the programming. So the second thing you do is you can go and buy it retail. There's a bunch of stock exchanges that you can just go up there, use your fiat, your American dollars, your pounds, your euros, your Swedish krona, your Indian lux. You can go and do this on a variety of different things, but you will buy it retail. Whatever the retail is. Like we are on a, is it Tuesday today? Today it's 20, no it's not, it's 3,300 when I had a look at it. So if you bought one Bitcoin, it would cost you 3,300. If you went and bought it on Friday, it was 2,700. So, that's about $600 difference. And this volatility I'll talk about in a little while, but you have to buy it retail. You can otherwise mine it. There's another way to get it. You can mine it. And if you mine it, you need to spend a lot of money, and I mean tens of thousands. So I looked at it today, a Bitcoin miner that might might get you 0.1 of a Bitcoin in a month's mining. It's still going to cost you over 10 grand. So getting in mining today is not very economical. There are other ways to do mining, and there are other ways to mine and other coins to mine for. But you need, one, the resources. You need, two, the know-how, the bandwidth. And you've just got to be able to mine and program and do that stuff. It's not impossible, but the average person doesn't know how to do it. Now, there's a fourth way to get it, and that's using our platform, our peer-to-peer funding platform. You become a member and you participate in the sharing economy. Now, if you want to go and have a look at the sharing economy and Google what sharing membership economy is all about, you're going to come up with some amazing, cool books. But we're going to tell you how we interpret that. So let's get into it. Probably want to know who this character is. That's me. Enough about me. That's Erdian. Enough about Erdian. Now, I'm only joking, because we'll let other people talk. The people on this call know who we are. And if you don't, you can find out anyway. So have a look at this roadmap of where we were and where we're going and where we are right now. We are at pre-launch. We've gone through all the lots of road bumps to get to do our research, do our design, do our development, build our team behind the scenes, and also the leaders in the organisation for building. And we're now at pre-launch. We are now live to pre-launch. We have products to offer, we have services to offer, and we also have a whole bunch of other products that are in development that will come as we launch. Right now, we're in pre-launch. So our mission, for a lot of you who don't know this yet, it's really simple. It's to inspire greatness by offering a suite of outstanding platforms to help you create and implement flexible funding solutions. So, what does all that mean? We do it through 21st century technology and applied exponential thinking. One of the issues that we find in development of businesses today is that technology is growing exponentially, right? That means, for you don't know, if we have a computing power today, this year, next year, that computing power will be double the power, and it would be almost half the price. And so we continue to double and double the computational power for processors, for example. But how does that affect us as humans? Because we constantly think as linear thinkers. And I'm not going to get into anatomy. I'm not going to do polymath on you right now and run all over the place. But just understand that in the leadership of the platform, we are engaging with exponential thinking as well as exponential technology. We're not only linear thinkers. We do have core values, and these core values are also linear. And a reason we bring this up in the beginning here, because we think it's important. When you pick up the phone and talk to someone, you want to know that they're trustworthy. And if they're not trustworthy, you pick up the phone and say, Pat, I don't think this guy's trustworthy. I don't want to deal with him. Or, whatever it is. You need to be aware that our core values are embrace trustworthiness. Everything begins and ends with trust, especially with cryptocurrency. People don't know what to believe or what to think. Our values around business is work hard, be flexible, go that extra yard, play hard. Right? And growth comes because of consistent execution. Now, so our values are causing growth. We want and will and do cause growth. We believe in leading the team and unifying them, exceeding the expectations of the team. But more importantly, we want to know, and we go out of our way to find out what drives you. We want to know what you want so we can help you get it. Now, our fourth core value, inspire smart living. That's about using our products. It's about using our platform. It's about leveraging your skill and your time. It's about learning, living smarter and being smarter. And I'll tell you about these other products in a minute once we get to them. And of course, our fifth, we have several, but these are the top five. Our fifth value is expressing gratitude. We don't just want to be thankful, we want to express gratitude. And we believe that when you have an organization who buys into these core values, growth is just waiting to happen. So what is this platform? What are we doing? What's all this about? The nice way to say it is we believe we're redefining the rules, putting control back into your hands. We're giving you a peer-to-peer funding technological platform. We're giving you an evergreen funding for businesses and other projects, and I'll explain the difference. And we use a universal peer-to-peer academy. It's university on steroids, basically. And we provide this in one suite of platforms that all our members get. And who are our members going to be? Because this is an important question. Now, some of the exponential thinking that you really need to be aware of, that right now, as we're speaking right now, these 4 billion people that I'm talking about, they're not online. They are not online. They are not even banked. They don't have a Visa card. They don't have a credit card. But guess what they do have? They're about to, or they're getting an Android or an iPhone. They're getting a smartphone, and they're connecting with different services. Branson, for example, is behind a team that is putting together something called OneWeb. It's basically a blanket of satellites around the entire planet, which will allow inexpensive access, high-speed internet access to anyone, anywhere in the planet. And yet these people that are going to get access, these 4 billion new people in the next few years, they're going to have access to the internet. They've got their smartphone. They want to do business. They want to educate themselves. They want to get into the world of global commerce. They want to possibly stay where they are because they're home, and they've got this cool little device, little phone that they can access the entire world on because they're online. How can they send money to people? How can they do business? How can they accept? Bitcoin solves this problem. Something to really think about. I'm not going to dive into the demographics, but this is an amazing new market. We're not talking about the billions of people that are already online. I'm talking about people that are going to be online. You know, there's an old ice hockey player, and it's B where the puck is going to be. Gretzky, right? 99. Gretzky. Why did he score so many goals? Why was he one of the best goal scorers in the history of the NFL, the National Hockey League? Because he says he was never where the puck was. He was always skating to where the puck is going to be. And he got there at exactly the right time when the puck did, bang, smacked it in, scored a goal, right? So, of course, he had some skills and he needed to shoot. But those 4 billion people, be where the puck is going to be. Okay, so the platform consists of 3 major. We have several more, but these 3 major ones that we're working on to launch. We've got the peer-to-peer funding. We've got evergreen crowdfunding and a peer-to-peer academy. So let's get into exactly the differentiation between that. Peer-to-peer funding, it's a model that allows you to build an organization who donate Bitcoin to you and your team. It simply says it's very much a combination of the power of something like Walmart online or Amazon online with the network marketing aspect that Amway brought us in 1977 when they actually became a legal method of business model. So you can use this model to build an organization, your tribe, your group, your team, your organization, whatever you want to call them, to fund you to do the things that you think are most important in life. Let's get into the pay plan. How does this pay plan work for this? It's sort of like an online MLM, you know, make lots of money, or maybe it means make lots of mates. I'm not sure. Maybe it means lots of other things. Basically, the 100% plan means that your organization does not pay in any of that money to the platform. And I'll explain after this plan exactly how the platform can survive. But to do the plan as forward, this is the way it works. You sign up, and actually I'll go through that in detail. There's 5 different levels, and each level will go through how the level works. So let's go through to level 1. You become a level 1 by simply donating to your sponsor. That entitles you to, you donate $100 worth of Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash or Ethereum, which is using Bitcoin at the moment, and you more than likely the person who brought you to the platform will be your sponsor, and you'll be on their first level, and you will donate the Bitcoin to them. The system will tell you who to donate to, exactly what amount, to exactly what Bitcoin address. And you don't need to be rocket science. You just copy and paste into your Bitcoin wallet. That's how it works. If you Once you do that, you're entitled to receive Bitcoin from everyone you bring onto your first level. Now, you may have 5 people that you bring in. You may bring in 3. You may bring in 50. Each one of those people are going to donate to you out of the goodness of their hearts, right? They're going to donate to you $100 worth of Bitcoin. They're not going to give you fiat. They're not going to give you any dollars. It's just like giving you a bag of rice, except they're giving you a string of code. And that allows them to also become a level 1. And then they can invite people to their level 1 who can donate to them. But check this out. You get 100%. You keep 100% of your donations. Now, it's not sent to the company. It's not sent to the platform. It's not like Amway where a customer sends in the money to the platform and then the platform then waits for it, keeps it, takes their profit, takes their cut, and then sends you a piece of that, the leftovers. You may have heard this called residue or residue. It's also residue is also called residual income. And people say, wow, that's so cool to have residual income. Actually, residual income just means the residue, the leftovers of what the company took initially. No, that's nothing like this in this plan. In this plan, 100% goes to you, nothing goes to the platform. Level 2, how does that work? It's exactly the same. When people come onto your second level, for you to receive donations from them, you first have to send a level 2 donation. And your intelligent smart system in the back office will say, you click on and say, I want to upgrade to level 2. And how do I do it? So you click on a button, you upgrade to level 2. Voila, you don't even know yes, you may or may not know the person's name. I don't know, but you copy their username. You copy their Bitcoin address, you copy the amount of Bitcoin that needs to go to them, because it will be $200 in Bitcoin at that specific time when you do it. So then you send it to them, then our system goes out and checks it and says, wow, you've done this, we've confirmed it. Now the system recognizes you as a level 2 person. Now that you're a level 2 person, you've done the work first, you've become a level 2 person. Once you become a level 2 person, anyone on your second level who wants to donate a level 2, because they want to become a level 2 so they can receive level 2s, so they donate to you a level 2. This is how the system works. Now, this one here is this entire program that we're talking about now, the presentation, is a short, brief presentation for leaders. We will have a deeper version of the pay plan and have it online so it answers all the particular questions. This was asked for me to do, so this is why I'm doing it. We go more than, level 3 is exactly the same, except now it's 400 instead of 200. Level 4 is 800 instead of the level before, which was 400, and then level 5 is 1,000. So theoretically and practically, if someone's on your 5th level and you've already donated a level 5, someone can donate to you a level 5. In this case, it'd be $1,000 of Bitcoin into your wallet. Remember, it does not go to the platform. It goes bang straight from their wallet to your wallet. That's why we call peer-to-peer. No one else owns it. So if you go back, because I know that some people want to ask this, look at this. If you've got 5 people on your first level, then there's a 30-day period that this is open for, 30 days that you're qualified for. During that 30 days, if you have 100 people on your first level donate to you, you get 100 times $100 in Bitcoin. If you have 5 people, you get 5 times $100 in Bitcoin, right? This is the way it works. And so the next level down, the people, if they want to upgrade and donate to you out of the goodness of their heart, and you have 25 people on that, then those 25 people are going to donate to you because you are level 2 qualified, because the first thing you have to do is also donate a level 2 to who the system tells you to donate to. The system says now you're qualified. Now the people in your downline says, okay, so I now pay to Pat, right? So I donate to Pat. In this case, it's 200, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. So that's just a quick overview of the way the pay plan works. And if you haven't understood that, don't freak out. We're going to have wonderful videos. We've got an expert in here, Johan Scheffenbach. He's helping me with the marketing. We've also got Klaus. Have we got Klaus stuff on someone here? Yeah, we've got Klaus in here. He's also helping with the video of creating pay plans. So we have experts that are helping create an entire separate pay plan presentation. You won't need to worry about it in this presentation. You can go to blah, blah, blah.com and they can just go and have a look at it and go, oh, I get it. That's our goal at least. So what's the difference between evergreen crowdfunding and peer-to-peer crowdfunding or peer-to-peer funding? Well, the main difference is this. When you build an organization and they donate to you in the peer-to-peer, each one of those people, they themselves are allowed to build their own organization and have people donate to them. That's peer-to-peer funding. The crowdfunding system, because you're a member of the platform, as a member, you have access to a separate website, which is a crowdfunding website that looks like GoFundMe or it looks like Kickstarter, and you can do a campaign for your business or your project or whatever it is, and you can have it out there publicly advertised, and people can go to that crowdfunding website and they can donate to you. But the people who back you, they can't get any backing. They don't have a crowdfunding. The only way that they can get that crowdfunding is if they become a member in the organisation. So this is an advantage for being a member. So if you know someone who wants to start a coffee shop or they want to have freshly brewed coffee and they need to fund some money to get a $50,000 roasting machine that roasts 3 kilos or something at a time, and so they have to do that, but they don't have the funds, they could put up a campaign and ask all their people around them to help fund their project to get that coffee machine. Now, here's the difference between us and how we innovate differently is a normal, now they're all different, there's lots of different ones, but the normal crowdfunding thing, starting a program or a campaign, you would go through a system and say you have a time limit. So let's say you have 100 days. And then you have to have a target. Let's say you have $10,000. And you then have to reach that target by 100 days. Now, if I wanted to go in and pledge, a pledge in English means to promise a donation. Say I pledge $100 to you. It doesn't actually go to you. It goes to the crowdfunding platform. They lock my credit card. They hold that there until your campaign is complete. Now, if your campaign doesn't complete, in other words, let's say you only get $5,000 out of the 10, your campaign fails and all that money goes back to the people who pledged it. You don't get anything, diddly squat. That's usually the way crowdfunding works. Well, how we innovate differently is evergreen means constantly there. So evergreen crowdfunding means it's the same campaign rules, the same identification, like the same know your customer and stuff like that. And the difference is if I come in and I look at your coffee machine and I say, hey, I want to help you get that, I don't pledge, promise. I actually pay you the Bitcoin or the Ethereum directly into your wallet. You get it straight away. It goes straight into your account. It doesn't go to the platform. The platform takes no fees whatsoever. This is a service because you are a member of GCCF. And it allows you to do this. So this can become really super profitable considering a lot of them charge between 4 and 8% and have to wait all that time. It's instant. And as long as you're a member, an active paid-up member, it's always there. Your crowdfunding is always there. So these are the things that we do instantly, peer-to-peer, evergreen, and it's Bitcoin. So these are the big innovations that we are doing with our crowdfunding engine. A progressive learning space is another thing. We call it peer-to-peer academy. Think of something like your normal education. You went to university or you went to high school, you read a book and stuff like that. Think of Wikipedia, and you go on to Wikipedia. Initially it wasn't so great, but now it's awesome. There's really good quality information. We have a learning space that will be a Wikipedia-based style of learning where you'll be able to go in and learn everything about money and crypto and all these things that is in our space. Okay, and so we will also allow active members to contribute. So it's not just us pushing information, because we're going to have hundreds and dare I say millions of members in our platform that want to contribute to this, and we're going to have a sort of a gamification idea, and kudos and top contributors will be awarded, and there'll be things like that. So it will be a progressive learning space. In other words, it's always changing, it's always developing. It's not stuck in 1959 or something. It's always up to date. Okay, so this is a question a lot of people ask me. If it's a 100% plan, how does the company make money? How does the platform pay for the programming, the upkeep? How does it do all this sort of stuff? It's a good question. It's fair enough. We think that the best way to do that is ask our members for membership dues. In other words, a type of fee. And we've done a lot of different calculations, and we've decided that 0.005 of a Bitcoin is adequate enough to fund not just now, but also into the future and the future development. We also have planned for mining in the future. That's not current, but it's worth telling you that we're planning it. We're planning to do mining, and we're planning to have that some sort of pro rata mining available for active members of the platform. We haven't figured it all out yet, but we are working on it. Possibly highly probable that our mining hub will be in Sweden. There are competitive advantages from electricity costs that most of you probably don't know unless you're a bookkeeper and know how cool and how advantageous the electricity cost can be if you're a mining, doing a lot of stuff with that. So how does the platform work? Well, 60% of that, let's say it's $10, right? I don't know what it'll be, but let's pretend it's $10, right? Disclaimer, this is a pretend statement. Let's say $10 for a month. $6 will go to the platform for all its costs, everything, staffing costs, development costs, everything, right? $2 then will go to the Founders Program, which actually I'm not going to talk about the Founders Program on this call, but the Founders Program is for investors. We have an investors program for founders who pay a certain amount of money, and they get a founders packet, and then they are allowed to profit or share in the revenue of the platform. And then we also have a leaders pool, which is for the people more than likely on this call, is 20% of that revenue, so it's $2. So every time, if we've got 100,000 people that go into the pool, then, that's 100,000 times $2. So $200,000 then would go and be divided by the leaders and the different pools, or once again in the founders. So what we want to do is be able to have enough revenue to cover the costs and to get the profit and to drive, because we have a few visions of the future, which I might talk about in a minute, and everything costs money. And so we figure if you're making $100 a month, or 200 or 300 or 400, we figure that you can afford to pay $10 a month for the software that allows you to do that. And everyone we've spoken to so far thinks that that's a fair enough deal. It's a very, very small percentage of what you can make. And obviously the reverse is true. If you don't want to, then don't. It's that simple. We will have different packages allowing people to start off with, and I'll get to those in a little bit. Important dates to remember: August, mid-August, live launch, tentatively speaking. Mid-October, new developments on our auxiliary products, such as the crowdfunding. And also in early December, we should be finished with all the product suite. Now, have I got on the next one? Somewhere in the middle to end of next year, 2018, we're looking at developing more than just mining. That'll be also funding something that we will be working with, and we call it the global Bitcoin banking, or the global cryptocurrency banking system. We see a hole in the market, and we've done a lot of research, and we need a lot of customers in our group to sustain such an undertaking. We have preliminarily looked at what it'll cost to get it done, who the competitors will be, is it viable, how many years is it? There's a lot to think about from a CEO's point of view. How do we do this? But we do believe we can do it, and we also believe that we can do it most effectively because we combine our skill set of networking and cryptocurrency with a skill set of finance and banking. And so I think we can be competitive, and we can be pretty much a good service for our entire organisation. So these are one of the things that we're thinking. It's a little bit down the track. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're at pre-launch. But you've got to know where you're going if you're going to get there. So to contact us, you have to go to Crypto Leader Avenue 1243, Crypto Avenue, Sweden. I know you don't think that's a name yet, but it will exist, and you will be part of that system. There's a couple of things to think about for getting started with the promotions. We do have a couple of different promotions. One promotion is you sign up as a pre-launch member, you pay $005. When we go live, you get you're actually getting 2 months for the price of one. That's one of the things. The Founders member, you can buy Founders packets for $1,000 per packet. The packet will give you 3 shares in the pool. When we go live, that same packet will give you 1 share. But we'll also have a packet that will give you half a share, so it'll be $500. These promotions, you're going to have to ask one of the people who brought you to this exactly what the promotions are and if it's applicable for you. We're also toying about bulk buying for membership. Some people don't like to go on and pay little bits of membership each month, and we don't have an ability to draw on your crypto wallet simply because Bitcoin wallets aren't like credit cards. You can't have a clearinghouse just suck money out of it. You actually have to push money out of your crypto wallet. That's why it's decentralized. You control it. Someone else doesn't control it. So it's almost impossible to make an auto ship. But we have a way that we could make an auto ship by having bulk buying. So we've got lots of different examples for that. So keep your ears open. Ask your sponsor what that actually can mean. It can mean that you'll get a 50% rebate if you buy for a whole year or something like that. So they're ideas that the leaders and the team have come up to the field. I have several other things that I'd like to talk about, but we're out of time now. The biggest thing that I want you to remember is this. Our job is, one, to spread Bitcoin to as many people as possible. When we succeed to do this, the volatility of the Bitcoin will stabilize. It won't be up and down every 5 minutes. What will also happen when we have millions and millions of new people spending $100 on Bitcoin and getting involved in the system, the value of the Bitcoin will go up dramatically. So we'll increase our work will increase the value of Bitcoin. It'll also increase the stability of the price, the value of Bitcoin. And we believe once we do that, we can spread it across the planet and also make other businesses start to, really benefit from using this. That's our main picture. The other part is we want you to earn along the way. So that's why we have the Bitcoin peer-to-peer funding. We don't want you to spread the word about Bitcoin and don't get compensated. So you're going to build an organization who are going to help compensate you for the work. And the work is spreading Bitcoin around the planet. Word of mouth marketing is all about something that you believe in and you're passionate about, something that could change the world. And that's what I believe this platform can do. So it's a mixture of 1, spreading the Bitcoin, 2, putting a lot of it in your pocket, and 3, making you a happier person. That's it for me today. We'll be back. We may have this recording up. The person who invited you here, you're going to have to get in contact with them. If you personally know me, you've got my phone number. Call me. If I can pick up, I pick up. All of you know that. If I don't pick up, I don't pick up. Don't get phased, right? It's just ring. Don't be scared.